Hi everyone, it's Dorcas and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you are a fan of the Travelers Company or use Travelers notebooks yourself, you'll know that the brand just released a tin for their 20th anniversary, and it is a cute little brass colored tin that has stickers and a charm. It has other kind of ways to decorate your TN, and that joint cost $78. Now, it released on July 1st, and some shops did a pre-order the day before. There was a variety of ways that they released their stock, but it was highly popular, and congratulations to you if you were able to grab one for yourself. It was super cute, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, that is really cute, and I would love to have it, but I don't want to spend that much money, and I think I can make it myself. So I ended up making this very teeny version of that. And not only did I create the tin, the little luggage inspired tin, I also created a little TN notebook to go with it. So if you want to hear all about how I went about creating this, just keep on watching and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so to start, I got this pack of tins. They're hinged tins because the tin from the Travelers Company one is also hinged. It is much larger than this one, but this is what I found, and I'm sure if I kept looking, I would find something bigger, but we're gonna go with this one. And in order to make the little holes to attach a strap, I'm going to be using my Crop-A-Dile from We Are Makers now, but we are Memory Keepers. This did not go all the way in the way it was. I wanted to go in a little further because when this closes, the hole would get covered up. So what we ended up doing, and by we I meant my partner kind of helped me figure this out, is if you have the Crop-A-Dile, you can get in a little further if you remove this little compartment that catches the kind of the things that you shed when you make the hole. So we're going to do that. And I have lined it up with these two notches. So let me get a little closer. And of course this is locked. There we go. So I'm going to approximate where that notch is and go all the way in and puncture my first hole. Super easy. And do my next hole. All right, so now when we close our box, the holes are still outside of the lid. Next, we are going to get a little strap. Now, I had intended to use the same kind of leather material that I'd used for the little tiny Travelers Company notebook. But I also found this, so I have quite a few scraps of leather that I've collected over the years. So I have these, I have this one. And then I also have this harder material. So obviously this is the one that would look most like the Travelers Company brand stuff. So I've decided not to use this one because it's too stiff. It's a little too thick and I want something that is more malleable, a little softer. So I'm not going to use this. So even though it's not going to be exact, I'm going to, let's see, I haven't decided if I want to use this black or really deep brown leather or this one. And this one is more of a suede. I think we're just going to keep it with the same one that I am using for the Travelers Company so that it matches what's inside. So I had gone ahead and I just kind of cut this material. It's not exact. Let me see, how long is it? It's like the length of this box and then some. I had initially cut a shorter piece, but then forgot that we need some slack to the strip so that then when we attach it to our tin box, there's still enough for it to come up a little bit. So I went for a longer strip. And so when we attach it to the little box, there will be plenty of slack so that then we can hold it by that. And the length of this one, probably like approximately 5 inches. So about 5 inches. And I will link to the tin box that I got from Amazon. But it is like 3 3/4 roughly. So I want to make sure that when I attach this to this box, that the hinge is not as wide as the box itself, because remember we have our lid that is going to take up some of that real estate. So I just want something that will be as wide enough as this little part right here. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I have a pen here. And I'm going to line it up with the lid. And then I'm going to draw a line at the edge of the box so that when I cut it, it's only as wide as that part that we want. Okay. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, so I'm also going to trim up some of this end here so it's a little straighter. That. Right. So I think that much slack is probably good enough. And since this is we're going through the process together, I think I'm going to actually redo these holes on a different box, because I feel that having them a little closer to the side will be better than having it this close together, because that little gap in between the two holes, I want it to be just a little bit wider. So we're just gonna do this part again. All right, so instead of having it line up with the little nudges, the little things there, I'm gonna do it a little further to the side. There, that should be good. I just want to make sure that I'm able to recreate this on the other side so that it's pretty even. And this is as far as I can go because of that curvature, right? So that's how we're going to measure it. Okay, so it's a little further to the side there. And then we're going to go all the way to the side here. Okay. So hopefully that is a little better. Yeah, I think that'll look better in the end. So let's collect these things. And I'm actually going to curve out this edge here. I don't think I want it as long as this full strip. Let's see. So I'm just going to measure it out. I think this is good enough. So I'm going to cut this part out. Curve this out. There. So now that we have our strip, we're going to also puncture a hole, and then we're going to connect it with brad. So I'm going to use this again, but we don't need this to be open. And let's see, I want to make sure that it is roughly centered. Okay, we're going to go for it. There's one. And there's the other. Let's do some cleanup. And now we're going to take some brads. Where did I put them? And we're just going to connect this to our tin can. Now, the brads are a little, you know, they're not super tight. I wish I had eyelets that fit into this, but I was just trying to keep this as cheap as possible. But the nice thing about the brads is that then I could swap out the strap for another color if I find one that is a better match for this project. Okay, so I have my little suitcase here, and this can turn over there. So I have my little strap here. Now I'm going to kind of color the little tag, the little luggage corners, just like they have on the actual one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a marker. And I've already tested this with another box where I tried using a Posca paint pen, a Sharpie, and then what we're actually going to end up using, which is an Archer and Olive acrylograph. So I was actually surprised that this one worked so much better than the others, because the Sharpie, I wasn't putting down enough color so that you wouldn't see, it wasn't opaque enough. So it was still translucent and I could see the brass can underneath that color. With the Posca paint pen, it it can scratch off. So that's also not good. But then the acrylograph actually stayed put. I mean, I'm sure I can, like, if I really dig in there, I can start chipping it off. But for the most part, it was opaque enough and it stayed on the tin. So we're gonna go with that option. So I'm gonna get it going. And we're just gonna paint a curve here. And then I'm using the side of the acrylograph so that I get more paint on the surface. But I'm just eyeballing it. You can create a stencil if you want it to be perfect, but I don't need it to be perfect. Okay. So this is one. And this dries really fast, so it's also a good thing. All right, so I have one here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other 3 corners and come right back. Okay, so I have my little suitcase with a strap. Let's see if it's pretty much dry. I do want to add a little bit of stitching there once I know it's fully dried, just so that maybe I'll do the little black one so that it matches the strap. Now for the interior, the legit one has a little like piece of paper in the background, and so I've taken this pad that I bought from American Crafts. It's the Coast to Coast, and I've pulled out some papers that I feel might be a good match for this project. There are quite a few others that I was considering, like this one with the gold foil. It was pretty cute. And then there was one with like a taxi. There's also this one, the one with a map. This one was also an option, but let's see. Out of these two, I think I'm going to go with the license plate. It's just a little more obvious that it is travel themed. So we are going to just take our tin and trace out a template so that we can stick it to the back of this. So I have my Tombow here, and we are going to attach this to the back of our tin here. Okay. Just make sure it is lined up properly. I need to get a little closer. Yeah. There we go. So we have our background here. Oh, you know what? No, this is how it goes. Pressing all the way. This is already so cute. Okay, so we have that. Now let's work on our Travelers Company, our little TN to go inside. And we'll decorate the the outside here at the end. So I'm gonna put this aside there, take this out. And for the TN, I used the same piece of leather that we used for the strap. And I really just eyeballed it. Here is the little TN that I had made. I eyeballed basically the height of the tin. So I made sure that it would fit in there. Okay, as I was saying, my phone is overheating, so it is crazy hot this week. So we're just gonna try and get through this. So I just measured, or kind of measured how tall the tin was, and then kind of folded my leather to a size that I felt was proportionate. So very unscientific, but once I did have that measurement, I cut out the piece from my leather, and then I did measure the middle of my scrap of leather, because what you want to do is, and this is for any size TN you're trying to create, is you want to create 2 holes, one at the very top. So let me, there. So one at the very top of your piece of leather, and then one right below it, because you're going to be threading your leather through that hole. Now, if this were a sturdier piece of leather, I would cut a slit at the very top and the very bottom. So then at the bottom, you also have 2 holes to mirror what is actually happening in our normal TN. So for example, a regular TN has a hole at the top, but that is cut by a slit, and then a hole right underneath it. Same at the bottom. And so that elastic is wrapping and looping in and out of these holes. So once I made my 4 holes, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, I threaded 1 hole through the top and then 1 through the bottom. I went right through to the bottom, and then I popped right back in through that secondary bottom hole, and then back out through that top secondary hole. And normally there is a little clip or some kind of, I don't know, clamp to hold those 2 loose ends together. But right now I have tied a knot on it because I know I have some kind of jewelry clamp that I want to, you know, when you make a bracelet or a necklace, there's a little bulb that you can use to clamp down on your loose ends of the thread or the string. I want to do that, but I don't have that just yet, or rather I can't find it. So for now, there is this little knot, which will be good enough for now. And I have my 2 strings for my TN. Now for the back part, the string that goes, that ties around the entire notebook, I took another piece of elastic, and this is just, I have just random like cord that I've used for projects like these. I have a pack of black and white, but you can also use an old TN elastic, which is what I was going to do before I realized that I had extras. So I ended up just kind of starting at one end, and then I looped it through the way I needed to, and then I cut once I knew the length of it. And so for this side, you're just going to have 1 piece of thread or elastic, and you're going to tie a loop on the 2 ends, or kind of tie them together, and then you're going to puncture a hole right smack in the middle of that back panel, and you're going to thread it through. Okay, so you're just going to make sure that hole is large enough. I had to keep poking it with my awl, which is aka my pokey object, and I just kept poking at it until it was large enough to thread this piece through. and it will probably need to be adjusted, which is totally fine. Once I have my little inserts, because yes, we are making little inserts, I can make it tighter depending on how thick or thin this thing turns out to be. But that's my little TN cover. Right now it's a little wide because I don't have anything inside, but that's how you would make your own TN. So let's talk inserts. I have a tiny stack of Tomoe River paper that I have cut down to size. I've measured or kind of eyeballed it, so I might have to slim it down a little bit more, but I have a little stack of Tomoe River paper. It's kind of a little, it's cream colored. And then I also thought it would be fun to make another insert using the sticker release paper that I've already used up. Like, I don't have, the stickers have been used or transferred to a different book. And so I have this sticker release paper that I thought would be fun to make a teeny little version of this, so that I can put my teeniest little stickers into it. Okay, so once you have cut down your papers to size, you're going to need a separate paper for the cover. So I just found this lying around. It's super old. So I've marked down, I've just taken one of these to mark down the size that I'll need for the cover. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, so okay, so these are my little my teeny Tomoe River paper inserts. Let me just make sure it'll fit. And then I'm gonna slim the whole, like trim the whole thing so that it's all even, but I'm gonna fold these in half. And I'm going to take my bone folder and make sure those edges are crisp. It might actually be too thick of an insert. Okay. And I'm going to fold this in half. And let's see, I might trim some of it down. Yeah. So I'm going to remove some papers from here, and then I'm going to trim this down so that the edge matches the cover. Okay, but before I trim it, I'm going to staple it together. I'm not going to sew these. I love a good saddle stitch notebook, but for this one, because they're so teeny, and TN itself, Travelers Company also does they staple their notebooks. There's actually a special stapler for stapling books together. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna do 2. One there. One there. Right on that seam. And then I'm going to make sure that it is crisp. Pretty crisp on the edge there, and then I am going to trim the side here. All right, so I have my teeny little Tian with Tomoe River paper. This is so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the sticker release paper, which should be a little easier because there's much less pages in that one, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so these are my two little teeny inserts. One is full of cream Tomoe River paper, Sansen, and then one has sticker release paper. And I'm now going to put them in my little travelers, your little Tien cover. I'm going to start with the Tomoe River paper. And then here I'm going to put the sticker release one. They're so teeny. Okay. Okay. So we have them here. They are very tight, but you can always go back in and trim as needed if it is too tall, if it's not sitting right. Like for example, I could probably trim a little bit off the top here, but I think it's fine. It's sitting properly here. Just gonna move them kind of like what we do with our usual Tiens, right? We stuff them full of inserts and then kind of play around until they're sitting properly. So I just trim these a little bit, and there we have it. So I wonder if I could put another like a jump band and add in a third insert, maybe with some watercolor paper, but let me see how this is. Okay, so this could probably be a little tighter. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just pull on it from the inside to see how much tighter it needs to be. Okay. So I'm going to just move this knot a little further down. And then once I'm happy with the length of it, I'll just trim the excess. So there we go. Yeah, so that's a little more comfy. So I'm going to trim the excess here so that it's not super lumpy. Okay. And I'm going to put that there. I'm also going to trim the excess of this, or you know what, I'm going to leave it like that just in case I do need a little bit more slack on the inside, or just trim just the tiniest little bit to clean up that edge. You can also burn the edge so that the elastic doesn't keep unraveling, because it is covered in this thread and it'll start to unravel over time. But this is my little Tien. Why don't we add a little charm? So the Travelers Company actual tin has a bunch of stickers. It has a charm. I think it also has a clip. So I have this token, which is part of New York City's Transit Authority, our token way back in the day. So I'm going to add that in, but I'm not going to add it to this Tien because I do not want to have to weave this elastic back through the Tien. So instead, I'm going to just take this little charm that I got from Kubo and Lucy back at the San Francisco Pen Show. It is the teeniest little fish. It is the teeniest little fish charm, which I thought was cute. So I'm going to put this over here instead. Okay, so we have that. And we can add this into our travel tin. How cute is that? So cute. Okay, so let's see. We can also fit, let's see if we can fit our Travelers Company brass pen. The actual tin, the 20th anniversary tin, does not come with the pen, but I'm adding it anyway. It does come with a clip, so we'll add our clip. Trying to see, it also comes with a couple of stamps. I have this stamp, which is kind of similar to the one that they have in their actual one, but I don't think it's gonna fit in here. Let's see. No, it's not gonna fit in there. Also, this Travelers Company clip is so big. It's taking up so much real estate. Let's see. I also have these other charms. I wonder, are they gonna be too big for our TN? Let's see. I'm just playing around now. Let's see. Is it going to be too big? We have, let's see. This is the LCN one that I got at the Chicago Stationery Fest. This might be too big and bulky. Let's see. I do kind of like the idea of it being gold, but it's too, yeah, proportionally it's just not working for me. So we're going to keep our tiny little fish and put this right back in here. Let's put that there. What else can we put? We're going to leave that out. Let's see. Maybe we can put in some strips of washi tape. Maybe we can put in a washi card. Again, the legit one does not come with any kind of washi. So you can put in a washi card at the bottom here if you wanted to carry some bits of washi tape. Let's put that underneath there. Let's put some little stickers inside our sticker release paper book. Let's see. I have a bunch of little ones in here. Let's put some of these. This is so cute. Okay, so then when we're ready to use our teeny TN, and just grab some from here and put it in our TN. What even is this? I don't even know what this is a sticker of, but you can put it in here. Let me zoom you in because this is, we're talking tiny to there. So we put a few little stickers here so that we can play with our teeny TN. Let's put this back in here. Let's put our little coin. Put this here. Oh, let's also make sure that this little clip will work for our purposes. So say I'm in the middle of my TN, and then I can just clip that open. Okay, so that works. Let's put this in so that we can add some stickers to the front of our tin. And I'll leave this out, but it is very cute. Okay, so the actual tin has some travel stickers, and so I pulled out the ones that I felt might be a good fit. I have this one, which I feel like would look really nice on here, so that's an option. I have these from Kubo and Lucy. These could work. Maybe that one. I have a bunch of different city stickers. This is also, I want to say, I can't remember if it's Kubo and Lucy or somebody else. I have Shady Pines, maybe some of these New York City ones. This definitely, like tickets and whatnot. Maybe like this airlines one, but might be too big. We've got a few little tickets here. These might be too light up against this. And these are from Sticky Club. Let's see, we've got these. Maybe not these. Okay, so I'm going to add in this luggage one, even though it's kind of bulky, but we're gonna go for it. This is from Sadie Stickers, and I got this one from when I went to the Chicago Stationery Fest. So I'm gonna just have this sticking across the top here. Have that there. I also have these Abby C ones, and this one is in collaboration with Job's Journal for the Chicago Stationery Fest. I'm not sure I'm going to add any from this one, but I am considering maybe one of these. I know this is actually for luggage, which would be pretty good, but it's too big for the size of this. Let's see. I'm thinking of maybe doing kind of travel stickers on one side and then maybe city stickers on the other. So let's add some more to this side. Maybe this kind of airmail one. I feel like there was another one. This one. Add that there. Let's see what's here. Okay, so I went ahead and added my stickers. I needed to take my time, so I just added a variety of little kind of travel stickers. We've got Chicago, New York City, California represented. There's this cute little boarding pass ticket here. We've got Paris. So I didn't put anything on the back, but I can always add more as time goes on. But I love how this turned out. I even tried to put the little kind of stitch marks on the luggage here, but you can't really tell. So I'll have to go in with a darker marker, maybe even with a Sharpie or something, so that they're a little darker. But I love how this came out. So just to refresh, look, this is my little TN tin with my strap, and inside I have a ballpoint, my TN ballpoint, a little brass clip. We've got my teeny TN with this cutie little charm from Kubo and Lucy. And then inside we have one insert with Tomoe River paper, added some stickers there. And then one TN with sticker release paper, which I will fill. And yeah, I love how it came out. So we also have a charm. So this is just my token from way back in the 90s. We have some washi paper or washi tape, and then we have this cute back paper here with license plates. So yeah, the silliest little project. I saw that tin. I was like, I think I could do that, and definitely not pay $78 or whatever it's worth. But I love all things teeny and cute, and even better if it's travel inspired. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and for following along in this little video, this project. Let me know if you ended up getting the actual travel tin. Again, it's larger than this, maybe like that big. So this is a much smaller version of that, but in case you didn't want to shell out the cash for that and just wanted a little project to do for yourself on a weekend, I thought I'd share this. This is a lot of fun to make. I have a few other tins that, we'll see what I make with those. Maybe I'll give them to give away as gifts. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!